Hello, I'm a bit late in giving this broadcast, having a problem putting up my picture, but I'm Shirley, psychic medium. Been doing this for many, many years. Just wanted to talk about today numerology and the numbers and how there's all different types of numerology. I wanted to talk about reasons why we're in this life today, what reasons we're here for, what lessons we've come to learn, and how by numerology, by learning about our birth date, I can give you examples that you can work some things out yourself. So first of all, there are different types of numerology, and I've studied both of those over the years, several types of numerology. And the way that you work out from your birth date in numerology, your numbers, is to first of all take your day that you're born on and add them together. And then that will give you your day born number, which is your character. And then you add up all your other numbers, your month and your year, and that will give you your life path number. Now, what I find is that people who come for readings with me, I usually sit down with them. And for me, it's a sort of tool that I use. I get to see who they are by their birth date and see their characters and their numbers and where they stand on their time clock in life, where their changes are. And then I add the numbers together and I explain to them things about their life from a psychic point of view. So in other words, I'm doing my numerology and at the same time I'm tapping into the spirit world for messages and for direction. So at the end of the day, being a psychic medium, I am like the in-between person. I'm the email address. So in other words, from the other side, I'm sort of the messenger. They give me the message and the message is passed on. And it also relaxes a person at the beginning of their reading when they're intrigued and want to find out more and more about themselves. On top of that, besides that, there are other tools that I use, tarot cards, pendulums, all sorts of other things. And these also are just tools that I use. Now, I'll give you an example on numbers. If you have your day born and it's, let's say your number is a 5 and your life path is, say, a 9, then first that shows me with your character that you are a sort of person who could be a hoarder or a person who has changes in their life, that the relationship sometimes only lasts for a few years. On the negative side, it can be self-destruction. And together with your life path number, it will show me when changes are about to occur in your life. So if you've got a number 9, that number 9 I kind of like make that part of who you are and your character too. So depending on whether you're more positive or negative, it will show you with the numbers, well, it will show me with the numbers, whether that person is more negative or positive, and what sort of time frame they need to be more positive in, depending on their life path. Now, if they're a number 9, it shows me that it's a person who likes freedom, not to be tied down, to get out and about. And also that could be a teaching number. A lot of 5s love music. So it really depends on the energies that I feel when I'm with a person. Now, I also do readings online, and I do private readings, and I also do public readings. So if you do want to find out more about you or someone you love or your family, you can always get in contact with me here. Now, in regards to relationships, it's sort of written in Heaven's Register about 40 days before we're born into this world, who our soulmates are. And we spend actually most of our lives growing and becoming, learning lessons in life and becoming more mature. And when the time is right, because I believe that everything is timing, then that will be the time to meet with our soulmate. So we spend the majority of our life, in our younger days especially, searching for our soulmate, which has already been put in the book of plans. You can have more than one soulmate, but ideally it's always nice to know that you've got one, but you do have more than one. And that soulmate in you will feel like one person when you are joined together, when the time is right. Now, with the numbers, what I've found from numerology is that if you've got the same numbers or one of your numbers in your life path or your day born, which is the same as your soulmate, you'll find that is what has drawn you together. And therefore, the relationship can be either a very strong friendship or the love of your life, or it could be someone who's come into this life to teach you also. So you learn from one another. But the bond will be very strong if you have the same numbers. And it doesn't mean to say if you do have the same numbers and you have been together for a while, and this is supposedly meant to be your soulmate, that depending on many things that affect you in life, the time that you're together might not be the time that you're meant to spend together, that there could be possibly another soulmate out there for you at a different stage in your life at a different time. Now, the thing is that we all have to be very, very patient in our life sometimes for that soulmate to come along. And there are certain things that we can do to attract that soulmate. So back to what I was saying about finding your right soulmate. So if you meet somebody who has the like numbers that aren't the same as yours, but you still end up being together, that's because you've both come into this life to meet each other for a reason. There was a reason why you crossed each other's paths, and you've come here to actually learn from each other. And then when the time is up that you're not meant to be together, then each of the souls, each of the people go their separate ways until it comes a time that they meet their soulmate again. So the life is a very interesting thing, depending on your moods, on your positivity or your negativity, depending on where you are in your life and depending on your numbers. Everything plays a big role in your life. If you do want to meet your soulmate, then it's advisable to write down on a piece of paper the sort of person that you would like to come into your life. You have to actually write 100% and think about it, who you really want in your life, because I always say to people, be careful for what you wish for, because sometimes when you don't write down exactly, you might not get what you wished for, and that can be a problem. So when you go to think about who you would really like in your life, then write down exactly what you're wanting and make sure you think about it really good before you write it down, and then stick it under your pillow or in your pillowcase, and then just let that go into your subconscious, because when you're sleeping at night is the most relaxed time of the night, and that's when all the messages and things come in and go out. Also, I wanted to just talk for a moment about families, not just about relationships. So sometimes when you're in a family and you feel like you're different from the rest of your siblings or your parents, knowing about numerology is a great thing, because you can actually look at the numbers and see whether there is, a likeliness to other siblings or to your parents. And sometimes you don't understand your parents or your siblings. So knowing numerology or understanding it is where I can help you. So if you did want a private reading and you did want to understand, or you have a boyfriend or you have a partner that you just don't understand, you can always write to me, and you can always give me the birth dates, the full birth dates, and I can always get back to you and tell you about their characters and why you might not get on with that person and how you might get on with that person and so forth. And it's the same with people who you've fallen out with. If there's people who've crossed your paths in life for a reason and you've fallen out and you didn't understand them, well, you can always get in contact with me and for a reading. Families are an unusual thing I've found in my own personal life, that sometimes you're born into this world to learn lessons from that family, but we did all choose, believe it or not, we did all choose our families, the ones we came in to be with in life. We've come to learn lessons from them. So whether we got on well with them or we didn't, we chose them before we were born into this world. So we chose them for learning from them. And we, of course, learned positive and negative things from them. I'm sure most people have learned from their parents positive and negative. But understanding numerology and what I work with is I can see the traits and see why the personalities clashed and why, in my case, in my personal life, why things were very different. Which I have to be grateful at the end of the day that I've actually learned to be my own person and realized today, by being a spiritual person, I'm able to look at situations and be able to help people also on their journey in life. I will keep this short today. I hope that you've enjoyed listening to me today, and please feel free to get back in contact with me. Have a lovely week. Love and light, Shirley.